Hello everyone, my name is Alecia Sprauve. Welcome to my presentation on the power of development, helping people thrive at every age. How do we help people thrive at every age? Well, we do so by growing through experiences that transform you. How can understanding lifespan development help us to become better individuals? Well, throughout this journey called life, human development never stops. From the time that you were born until you reach adulthood, each phase has brought its own challenges, opportunities for growth among people who are understanding just like you and I and surrounded by empathy and life-saving strategies. If you have ever struggled in life in any form, this presentation is for you. Who am I? I am an educator, a lifelong learner, and a motivator. My passion in life is to help people to grow, improve, and become the best version of themselves. This is not only to make others happier in life, but to allow them to see through change transformation how their outlook on their lives in the future can change the trajectory of life they're living today and to help them to achieve their goals in the process. Well, to start things off, I'm going to tell you about my own growth story. I remember a time when I was struggling with maintaining healthy exercise in my own life. I knew I needed to try to do it, but something always found a way to interrupt my plans to exercise. One of the things that I struggled with was the lack of motivation. It seemed that there was not enough time ever to fit exercise into my life. Another thing that I realized that was preventing me from getting exercise into my schedule was giving up too easily. I would start off feeling highly energetic, only to get to the second week in and then feel like I'm ready to give up on it for good. I didn't feel like continuing with exercising. I would rather focus more on my bodily pains and how tired I was. So by the end of the day, I would not even feel motivated to continue. Not to mention some of the barriers that I experienced that would pop up to prevent me from exercising, such as joint pains, weight gain, brain fog, all due to the onset of perimenopause. Now I'm going to talk about what changed for me. What changed for me was that I started implementing SMART goals into the situation. I started to problem solve, to form ideas and thoughts about what would lead to a positive solution that would work to improve my issues with exercising. So what I did was I started creating a schedule for my weekly workouts. I started tracking my weekly progress. I also started practicing positive self-talk and I used affirmations to motivate me. I started to increase the frequency of my exercises and I paid attention so that I can stay consistent to maintaining my progress over time. Reflecting on the social cognitive theory and self-determination theory really helped me to understand the key concepts of self-efficacy, motivation, and accountability. All the things that I needed throughout this experience. With this newfound knowledge about myself, I went ahead and increased my exercising from 30 minutes to an hour. I also improved lifting weights from 5 pounds to 10 pounds for beginners. Throughout all of this, I kept building my confidence by staying consistent with the exercising. The lesson I learned from this is that growth starts with me. I stopped expecting immediate change and started appreciating the gradual progress. Here's a lifespan overview visual of every stage of development: early childhood and adolescence. And remember, every stage have different needs. Here we have the emergent adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood. Let's start off with early adulthood. So I successfully helped Timmy overcome his challenge with learning self-control, sharing objects with others, managing his emotions while interacting with others. I sought out further understanding of this issue by implementing Vygotsky's socio-cultural theory of cognitive development, which helped the little boy with understanding how to share and take turns when utilizing objects. I was able to accomplish this by implementing strategies, providing scaffolding when needed, by modeling the appropriate behavior for his age range, and by redirecting him when necessary to do so. So this little boy made great impacts throughout my time with him. He benefited greatly from advanced warning or instructions. He started using his words instead of grabbing objects from others. He did not reject when he had to be redirected in any form or when he became uncomfortable. Supporting him with on-the-spot support impacted him. Meeting this little boy in the zone of proximal development was timely and key to helping him overcome his challenging struggles with behavior in a positive way. This experience with him showed him how to learn how to show empathy towards others as well. He now has a new tool at his exposure to use to help him to better engage with his peers, as well as how to control himself better by choosing an alternative activity until the desired object or thing becomes available. Self-control is an ongoing skill that he will have to work on consistently as he evolves throughout the stages of life. What I learned from the early childhood phase. With all the experience that I have gained, I have come to realize that children are not trying to be difficult. They are just trying to communicate their unmet needs in the best way possible. Vygotsky implied that children's interactions with adults and their peers can tremendously impact their learning outcomes. Now we're going to focus on adolescence with Anne. I successfully helped Anne, who is a teenager, overcome her challenge with poor self-esteem, body image concerns, and identity. She did not think that she was great at anything. She was also self-conscious about her body image in many ways. I sought further understanding of these issues by implementing Erikson's identity, moratorium versus achievement theory, which helped the teenager to explore who and what she was made of. I was able to help her by implementing strategies such as positive affirmations, growth mindset thinking, which allowed her to see herself in a different light than before. I also suggested that she do weekly journaling of her thoughts and ideas. Sometimes an individual needs a safe environment to discuss what's on their mind, and I made sure that she had this as well. What I learned from the adolescence phase. I learned that it is very important that as adults, we take the much needed time to listen to what adolescents must are trying to convey to us. Listening and understanding how they feel and who they are is essential. Identity is not discovered overnight, but by support, reflection, and encouragement. By Dr. Bruce E. Jackson. Next, we're going to focus on emerging to middle adulthood with Sarah. I successfully helped Sarah overcome her challenge with taking positive advice from her mom and supporting an environment for family cohesiveness. This young lady was into having tattoos on her body and had a hard time listening to her mom about the implications of this when it pertained to obtaining professional work in the health industry. I sought further help from Albert Bandura social learning theory, which indicates that individuals consider how environmental factors and cognitive factors influence the learning and behavior of human beings. This explains how her decision making is influenced as her peer interactions grew. Albert Bandura social learning theory also extends into social cognitive theory. This young lady benefited from the implementation of Albert Bandura's social cognitive theory, which helped her to uncover how the influence of others can impact her life. I used various strategies with this young lady to help her to overcome the issue. As a result of this, she was able to create and build healthier relationships with her peers as well as her mother. I suggested that she journal her thoughts and ideas down prior to making a confirmed decision. As a result of that, she was able to have more meaningful conversations with her mom without judgment. She was able to reflect on all the suggestions I presented to her. This helped her to become more aware, to identify the patterns in her life, and how to evaluate the right direction. On late adulthood with James. I successfully helped James decrease his challenge with short-term memory, hearing difficulties, and how to maintain his independence during this phase of his life. I sought further help with this issue from the selective optimization with compensation theory, which implies that an individual's cognitive status and rate of decline do not always align with the individual's chronological age. I also sought insights from Erikson integrity versus despair theory, which indicates that individuals must find a sense of meaning, belonging, and acceptance from those that they care about the most. Some strategies that I started to implement that had a positive impact on his life were doing word puzzles to keep his cognitive abilities sharp. A daily schedule which kept him structured and focused throughout the day. I also implemented a daily walking routine which made sure that he was exercising and maintaining his strength and health. He also benefited from having his family support him along, along with this experience. He also benefited from having reduced distractions while having conversation, which helped him to hear more clearly when somebody spoke to him. I made sure that he took advantage of routine medical checkups because they were essential. As a result of those strategies, he gained a sense of independence. He felt accepted for who he was, which improved his quality of life. What I learned from these experiences. I learned that in early childhood, children need adults to model the appropriate behavior they wish to see. For adolescents, teenagers need to feel as if they belong. For emerging adulthood, young adults need guidance without control. For middle adulthood, adults need self-discipline and purpose. And for late adulthood, older adults need dignity, support of family, and meaningful independence. Theories that influenced my thinking. Vygotsky's sociocultural theory. Erikson's identity, moratorium versus achievement. Albert Bandura's social learning theory. Here are some strategies that I think everyone can implement in their lives today. 1. Listen first. 2. Model the appropriate behaviors. 3. Encourage reflection. 4. Celebrate the progress. 5. Build confidence gradually. 6. Create routines. 7. Practice patience. 8. Meet people where they are developmentally. My biggest takeaway. My biggest takeaway was before taking this course, I had a limited understanding of in-depth knowledge about lifespan development from conception to late adulthood. However, now my view have changed tremendously. I have learned that individuals need to be met where they are developmentally. I have learned that when we treat people with empathy, patience, and love, and provide them with meaningful strategies that align with them throughout each stage of life, that is essential. I also have learned that I had to invest in my own growth first in order to support and help others. My lasting inspiration for you is development is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming better at every stage of your life. Thank you.